community. The demographics on seniors are getting larger, as we know, in the state, and it's no different for the town of Oakland. This is a hole that we have in our community that I think that needs to be filled. I don't think this is going to be cost prohibitive for the town to engage in this type of project. I know that the group is looking at possibly branching off on their own, which I personally have no issues with that whatsoever. You know, one thing that I kind of looked at was coming underneath the umbrella of the town with the insurance and all that kind of stuff would be easier for them to get jump-started on this. But if they really want to push this, to be on your own on this, that's totally your call. I mean, that would be an arrangement between you and RSU 18 if this is the direction that you choose to take this. If you do want us to participate, I can get the council's blessing on that, we can move forward with that. So, questions for the council?
What do you anticipate the cost would be for the town? Like, I assume somebody's going to have to keep the building and maintain it and things like that.
We're at the very, very beginning stages of that, Dana.
I know that.
You know, I know that Carl had mentioned to me that they had rented it, historically had rented it at $2,000 a month. We're not going to be looking at any rentals like that whatsoever. I think, you know, I don't even dare to talk numbers yet because you don't know where you're at for sure.
Right.
Because we're going to be talking about heat, we're going to be talking about electricity. You know, there's some maintenance issues, there's some insurance that we're going to have to be looking at. So it is going to bring a cost to the town. I don't know how much yet. And once I have all those numbers together and something more concrete, then we can discuss this whole process again. I'm basically looking for questions, any input from the seniors who are here, and if you have any questions for Carl, I mean, he was generous enough to take his evening and come down here. So here we go.
Questions? Any questions? Comments? How's that?
That's good. Yeah, no, we started back in the very end of June and talked to Eric and Chuck. This is Chuck Fair back here. This is Pauline. This is Judy, and this is Donna. And Judy Kutcher is the other member of our team that wasn't able to come tonight. And Chuck and I went and talked to Eric, and after we talked to Eric, he asked us to give him some time because he was with the young people's group right then. And so I contacted him a little later on in August, and he said he was going to research different towns and so forth to see what was going on in other places. And Chuck kind of took the bull by the horns and was very impatient. Chuck is a very impatient man, but that's not a bad thing sometimes, that's a good thing. And he talked to Gary, and then I came down and talked to Gary, and Gary started looking around for other places for us to maybe be. And he mentioned Memorial Hall. And then there was kind of a hiatus there for a little while, but with Gary's help, we got back together and we went to see 3 different sites. And as a committee, we've met and we were pleased with what was offered by the school department, and Gary indicated that was a good place for us to be too. And to answer a question that you kind of brought up here in the conversation, yes, we would like to work through the town. Ned and Ann Hammond, they've gone off to Florida, but they want to be a part of this group too and see everything up and going. And so if there's a way that we can have the assistance of the town to give us support here and get this place up and running, and I was just listening to what you said, heat, electricity, and maintenance, and whether that is through the town or through the school department or a combination of both, that would be, you know, greatly appreciated, because this is something I think the town needs, and I know some of you, I've talked to some of you, and you've indicated you think it's something the town needs as well, and maybe all of you do, and that's wonderful if you all do. But as Gary said, we're all getting up there in years, and that's the only direction we're headed. There's no other direction for us to go in. And so we see this as a benefit. I know that Judy and Pauline and Chuck and I have gone down to Richmond, and Richmond's a smaller community than we are. It's about 3,500 people. But we went down to Richmond. They've got a really active senior center down there, and they keep their senior center open. And we're not looking at this right now, I'll tell you, but they keep their senior center open from 9, I think it is,
Yes.
9 until 5 or 9 until 4, and 4 days a week. And they do an awful lot of activities. And do we want to look to that? Of course we do. We want to see us doing something like that too. I don't see it happening right immediately. I see us starting small, and I indicated this to both Carl and both Gary. I see us starting small, and if small works, then we get bigger, and we get bigger, and we get bigger. And I think that that's wonderful. And so what we're looking for is a place to be, and I know Carl mentioned something about the ramp and the railing and stuff. He'd like to see that more secure up to the building, up to the old superintendent's office. And however these fellas can work out these things for us with your consent, then that would be a great thing to have happen. I know Carl's going to go to the school board too, of course. And down the road, we've even indicated that if we can, and we can, I think this would be great too, we can include other communities that are part of the RSU, because this is an RSU building. But I think initially we need to start out as Oakland and then build from there. And I think we've got a good group that wants to do those things. And other people have indicated they'd like to be a part of the group too. So we'd start small, and if small works well, and I think it will, then we're going to get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger until we can do some of these things that Richmond does, because I was totally impressed with what Richmond does. And so we weren't looking to go under any specific department, and instead we were looking to just get ourselves going, and then maybe down the road, if we can go and solicit from Hannaford or any of these places that are willing to give us cups and paper plates and napkins and those kinds of things, and other people in the community that would be willing to maybe donate a coffee pot to us or whatever, whatever the building is going to need down the road, then I think that we can do it without really putting in a budget to you folks, rather than trying to build into somebody else's budget. I think we can do it because we're adults and we know how to do those kinds of things, so to speak. So, and if anybody else wants to add anything, please feel free.
I have a question. So, it's just a place for like senior citizens to hang out? I don't understand. I'm asking because this is across the street from my house. And I live on a dead-end road, so it's obviously going to increase traffic in my neighborhood. So I'm just wondering, it's a place for you guys to hang out with each other, or what is it?
That's basically it, yes. It's people that are gonna get together at our age, and I don't believe that it's gonna be a lot of traffic, because we're hoping that word of mouth is like, if Sally goes and Sally tells Sue and Sue wants to go, then Sally will pick up Sue, it'll still be a car.
So it's just a place for you guys
It's just a place to
network with each other,
to have puzzles and
play games,
games.
and
Cards.
I mean, obviously, you guys need stuff to do, but don't we have places in Waterville for you guys to hang out? I don't
We would like to have a
understand
place in
We'd like-
Oakland.
why you
Yeah.
want to build a place in our neighborhood.
It's it's not even going to involve your neighborhood. It's not up over the hill, it's down below the hill.
That building is almost directly across the street from my house.
No, you've got Oral Wheeler's house and you've got the car house that are across from you. And then you've got
It's from here to the office over there almost.
Okay, let's move on.
Like, I'm just
Okay, so
saying,
I'll make a
I mean, it
recommendation.
affects my neighborhood, I live there.
I
So
don't
for you
think
to just say it's 2 doors down, that doesn't affect you, I live
Well, how
there.
does it affect you?
That does affect me. I'm not saying that I'm opposed to what you guys, I mean, you're my neighbor, I love you guys, I think you're awesome. I'm just wondering what the purpose is of it.
Andrea.
What's going to be going on there. You're asking
Andrea.
for money from our town. I'm just wondering,
Andrea.
you know.
It's a gathering for
You know.
seniors, my age. We will eventually read to your children that may want to. The teachers may come up the road and read.
I would like to
It's
have stuff in
playing
this town for
Rummy Cube.
children to do.
Rummy
We
cube
don't,
or something like that, or canasta or set.
you know. I mean, I'm not opposed at all to what you guys are. I don't want you to think that. I'm just wondering the impact that it's going to have on my neighborhood.
I don't think
No.
anything negative,
Not
I
at
think
all.
everything positive.
Yeah.
If you ever have the opportunity to go down to Richmond and see what they're doing, you would love to have it.
And I think, like, my mom just moved into a retirement community and she's as happy as she's ever been. So I think it's awesome for you guys to have stuff to do. I'm just wondering,
Okay.
I saw it on the thing and I was.
We'll call the order,
wondering.
please, Mr. Woolman.
I guess we're not.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to add activities and programs for all of the town members, and I think we need to support them. I'm not sure if we're at a point now where we actually know what the relationship would be. I think it's something we need to pursue, find out costs. I'd be really curious to see what Richmond does. And I guess my ultimate question, if this is a viable thing, what is the relationship between the group, the building, and the town? Do we oversee it? Does Eric oversee it? Is it just a sole entity out there that we provide for senior citizens? Who opens the door, who locks the door, who has keys? All those little organizational things that somebody has to work out. We haven't got to that point. We don't need to be at that point yet. So I think it's appropriate to go forward and find out all we can, and maybe some of us take a trip to Richmond and speak to them to see how they have brought it into the town. Is it run by the town? Is it run by a group? What's the best way to do it? We may not be there now, but maybe someday we will. So I'm in favor of it. There are a lot of questions that we have to nail the answers down to before we.
So I'd like to make a recommendation off that. I would like to recommend our town manager and ask the superintendent if we can still continue on forward. I think it's a tremendous idea. As doing the Thanksgiving dinners for the last 33 years at Messalonskee High School, a number of old people have come in and said the only reason why they're there is for the company. And I think that is just, it is so needed because so many people are alone and they need that mental stimulation. I loved what she just said a few moments ago. We could even read to your children. That is just so powerful. So I would like to recommend that you take and you continue on trying to work out the details with Mr. Gartley. Thank you, Mr. Gartley, for extending that out. Thank you for coming the other night, too. I think it's something needed for our elderly group of citizens here in the town of Oakland. Let's see if we can get some numbers to it. Budget season's coming upon us very fast, so if we have to budget for it, that's even better, and we're right on time. And I thank you for bringing that forward. So that's my motion. Second, all in favor? Is that good enough?
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. I think it's tremendous.
Do you have anything you would like to add to that, Carl?
I think, no, I'm good. We're happy to, well, the only thing I will add is, I think, well, there's a really nice idea for our citizens of Oakland. I think it's fantastic. The more we've worked with partnerships with the town, I think the more we've enhanced our town. And I think the more we've continued to save taxpayers money by working together. And I think that's another opportunity, and just make the board aware that the district, we are not looking to, you mentioned how much we used to charge. Buildings vacant right now, we're not looking to, this is not a money-making ploy for the district. We're looking to cover our costs for this, and that's about it. It's just more of the continued work. Gary's been fantastic for us, so, and so just, I want you rest assured on that.
Thank you.
And if you ever have questions for me on this or anything else, please, I'm welcome to come. I'm willing to come anytime you want me.
We got a little ways.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next item, first reading of the taxi ordinance.
Are you the superintendent?
Yes.
I mean, nice to meet you. I'm glad you guys can.
So I've taken all the recommendations from council last week, and I've highlighted them in red, a copy that you have. This is not a real clean version yet. I noticed that on the back page is still under the, so, and let's see, anything else?
You're good. Thank you.
Anything else change on this? Is there anything here that,
I think you guys would be much better than the other kids over there.
So I changed the number 3. Bob had recommended putting 4 higher plate on there, and I believe that he's gone to ask how to change, where we have a more legal inspection done within 1 month prior to the taxi cab obtaining the license from the town board. So those 2 corrections.
Number 5 says that minimum 1 year. Is that for the owner or all operators here? Is
That would be, I would assume, for the operator, correct?
any,
I don't know, I don't have to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got it right here for you.
Number 5 would be under section A.
A minimum of 1 year driving experience.
Yeah, that would be a driver.
Any driver?
Any driver, yes.
Okay. I assumed that's what it was, but it was kind of talking about the owner-operator in the paragraph there, so I wasn't sure. Now, what about renewal fees? Under number 10 here, it talks about what it would cost for the application, $50, and for each tax, $15. And I assume every year.
That would be an annual fee.
So, okay, so the $50 too would be an annual?
$50 is submitted that would be the application fee, and then the sum of $15. So the application, once the application's in, there would be the $15, but every year, the $50, and then every year it would be $15 for the vehicle to license.
Yeah, once he's got the license, the renewal fee is the $15 and. The only other thing, I had a question, I didn't know how the chief was looking at, like section 10, and I think probably, it's understood that these people are gonna follow all the passenger safety rules of car seats and seat belts and all that, and I didn't know if it was worth saying that in here, or just everybody understands that.
Yeah, I think those are the rules of the road.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, they certainly should.
I assume they have to have a car seat in there if they're carrying a child.
Yeah.
And I also found in the February 2017 edition of the Maine Townsman, an area that was discussed about the Lyft and the Uber drivers, and I think I included that. So that kind of answers that question that was hanging out there for us.
Further questions?
I'd make a motion, this be our first reading of this ordinance.
Motion's made. Can we get a second? Second by Bob, all in favor?
Good.